Hello, friends. It is time to play Spookopoly. And you may think, Brittany, is this not the third game you've played this month? And you would be correct. I've already played TBR Harvest, I've already played Timmies, but I could not skip Spookopoly. I have participated in Spookopoly since before I had a BookTube channel. I watched Becca's videos, I participated in the Readathon, I cannot miss it. It is just a staple readathon for me, so if Becca's doing it, I'm doing it. Now, because I am doing 3 TBRs this month, this is the third, and a readathon that I don't know the prompts for, Fabelin, I am only going to do 5 rolls of Bookopoly. Any more than that, and my brain might explode. Now, if there are doubles, I will add a roll as that is part of the game, but we're just gonna hope that that doesn't happen. I've also made the game a little bit easier for myself with the community shelf and chance cards. I've used prompts from my other 2 games that I have already played to fill those. So for community shelf, I put all the TBR Harvest prompts on those cards that I landed on. So I will be using books from TBR Harvest if I land on those. And for chance, I put all the books that Timmies is making me read on those cards. So if I land on a chance, it will be a Timmies book. So there could be some overlap in these TBRs if the game sees to give us that. But with that, I think it is time to jump in to our first roll. Roll number 1 is a doubles 8. And gets us to present. Well, that is not what we wanted to see. We got a double on our first roll, so we will have to add a roll to this TBR. Spookopoly starting off with a bang. We did get the prompt of present, though, which is a book that you want to read right now, which is a fairly easy prompt, so I guess it kind of made up for it. There is one book that I was really hoping to read over the spooky season, so I am going to use that one to fill this prompt. And that is Cackle by Rachel Harris. This book was actually gifted to me by Rainey, I think when I hit 1,000 subs, and I've been holding it for spooky season. In this book, we follow Annie, and Annie just broke up with her boyfriend, needs kind of a fresh start, and decides to move out of Manhattan to a small village upstate. She starts teaching in the school there and meets a new friend named Sophie, and everyone in the village kind of is a little bit standoffish with Sophie, and she doesn't really understand why, until things start to come to light about Sophie. Sophie's house in the woods is a little bit mysterious, and Sophie seems to have some sort of abilities. But Annie does not necessarily believe witches are real, but has she just met one? Spooky season is the perfect time to tackle this book, so it is definitely the first book on my Spookopoly TBR. Roll number 2 is a 5 and gets us to Jason. For our second prompt, we got the prompt of Jason, and with this one, I needed to find a book with 13 letters in the title, which to say that was difficult is an understatement. I was pulling books from everywhere, and they all had either like 10, 12, 18. 13 was a hard number to find, but I did find it, and I'm actually very excited with the book that I found. I will be reading One for the Enemy by Olivia Blake. I love Olivia Blake, and this is one of the ones that I haven't read. I actually need to read a lot more of this author's backlist. I've really only read the Atlas 6, but I adored it, and I need to read more. This one is also a retelling, which even makes it more exciting for me, frankly, because it is a retelling of Romeo and Juliet. In this book, we have the Antonova sisters on one side with their mother and the Fedorov brothers on the other side with their father. And they are dueling families, and obviously young love will have to bring them together. Is it fated to survive? Is it destined to fail? These are the questions I have when diving into a Romeo and Juliet retelling. Frankly, I know I love this author, and I know I love Olivia Blake's style of writing, and I just think her style with a Romeo and Juliet retelling is going to mirror so well, and I am very excited to dive into this month. Roll number 3 is a 4 and gets us a community shelf card, which is going to be Spooky Book. Okay, Spookopoly did me a solid here and gave me a community shelf card. All the community shelf cards, again, are prompts that I landed on for TBR-a-thon Harvest. So I already know what book this is going to be because Spooky Book I picked Final Girls Support Group by Grady Hendrix. I won't go too in-depth with this book because I just talked about it in a video 2 videos ago when I picked my TBR Harvest book, but it follows a group of final girls as they come together in therapy to kind of move on from their tragic experiences until someone finds out about the group, and one of the girls doesn't show up one day. Horror is outside my usual reads, but I do love Grady Hendrix for the satirical vibes of Grady Hendrix. So I'm excited to add this to the TBR for both readathons and have a little double up. Roll number 4 is a 9 and gets us to Bram Stoker. To be honest, this was a spot that when Becca did her announcement video, I really wanted to land on. So the fates shone down on me with this. I love Dracula. I love that book. It's one of my favorite classics. It's why I do like gothic horror. It's one of the few subgenres of horror I do like. And I did really want to land on Bram's space. Now for this, I do not want to reread Dracula this holiday season, but I do want to get to a vampire book that recently came out that I'm very excited about. And since this prompt is to read a vampire book, that is what I'm going to do. So I will be reading Immortal Dark by Tigress Skirma. I am so excited to read this book. Now, I know I have heard a lot of things about this being fanro, but I also know that this is extremely dark academia, which is what pulled me into this book. And I've heard it's a pretty good mix, like 50% dark academia, 50% romance. And I think that is exactly what I would need to really enjoy it, to have that big dark academia plot in there as well. Plus, I did get the pretty sprayed edges copy the other way when I bought this at the store, because I cannot go into a bookstore, see sprayed edges, and not get it. Like, it's just impossible. Another thing that really drew my attention is I do love books that kind of have this premise of ink and blood together in some sort of form. And on the hardcover, it says, "Seek mind above blood, and if you must bleed, use it as ink." That really gives me Ink Blood Sister Scribes vibe, and I do love that book, and I'm always looking for something that kind of is adjacent to that or reminiscent of that, and I think I'm going to get that with this book as well. In this book, we follow the heiress Cadane, and she lives in this world of magic where humans derive power from a companionship with vampires. And each family has a vampire that is like their family's vampire. So like one vampire per family. Her sister June goes missing, and she is determined that this vampire has taken her sister. So she infiltrates this university where the vampires are and has to live in proximity to this vampire to find out what happened to her sister. When a murder happens that is very reminiscent of her sister's disappearance, she gets pulled more in to this dark side and being near this world of vampires. I really hope I love this. I think from the synopsis, it's a perfect book for me. So we'll see if the execution brings it through for me when I get to this month. Roll number 5 is a 10. And gets us a chance card. And Daughter of No Worlds. Then we got a chance card, which is all of my Timmies books, and got the book of Daughter of No Worlds by Carissa Broadband. This is on my TBR for Every Romantasy. Rainey made my Every Romantasy TBR, and I need to read these books. I'm really hoping to enjoy this one. I really have loved one book by this author and just found the other one okay. But from everything that everyone has said about this book, I think this one is going to be more up my street. And what is hopefully our final roll? We get a 6 and another community shelf card with TBR backlist read. We have made it to our final roll. Okay, only one double. And also, Spookopoly did me a lot of solids with a lot of overlapping books. Because we did end with a community shelf card, which is another prompt from TBR Harvest. So this is a book that is on both TBRs. For TBR backlist, I used the book Last Chance Books by Kelsey Rodkey, and that is what I will be using for this prompt as well, because obviously that's the point of having them be the same, is that I could double up. This book has You Got Mail vibes. We have our small town bookstore now being open next to a large book chain and the two owners kind of battling out to see which one will survive this book war. I don't know if it has any sort of like letters or messaging as a part of it, but I really hope that it does, because if it's You've Got Mail, I will be very excited to read this. And I may need to watch You've Got Mail, because to me, You've Got Mail is like a fall movie. It's a fall vibe. So like, even though this book doesn't scream fall, I feel like the vibes of You've Got Mail is fall. I feel like I got through Bookopoly pretty much unscathed. I know we got one double, but there were so many overlapping books landing on Community, Self, and Chance so many times that I think I got pretty lucky, considering this is my third game board that I'm playing this month. This is the TBR plus Daughter of No Worlds, so 6 books on the Spookopoly TBR, but only 3 new books on my October TBR. That's not too bad. Are you playing Spookopoly? Let me know what ended up being on your Spookopoly board, or if you're rolling as you go, what your first roll is, because you probably will know that by the time this goes out, because I think this will actually be going out in September, just due to the fact that like I have 3 TBRs to put out. If you have nothing to chat to me about down in the comments, leave me a dice emoji. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.